And now, the general weather around Alaska.
Hello, this is Alaska Weather, and I'm Eric Holloway with the National Weather Service for July 26, 2023. A couple other options for you. A 1-800 number gets you through a phone menu system and out on the World Wide Web. Lastly, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please email us. For the headlines over the next 24 to 48 hours, no watches or warnings today. Thunderstorms do continue for the next few days across mainly the eastern mainland, across the interior. Shishaldin puffs again last night. There was a elevated ash cloud up to about 15,000 feet overnight, analyzed by the AWU unit, or the aviation unit here in the office, that sent off a segment that will continue through this afternoon for pilots in that area of the state down in the Alaska Peninsula. A couple hydro things going on, keeping an eye on the Suicide Basin that drains into Mendenhall River. That basin continues to fill, and also there was some higher water levels on the Tanana River, and that's basically from glacial melt that we're keeping an eye on that, bringing some elevated river levels through the Tanana Basin. For yesterday's lightning, Tuesday, July 25th, roughly around 10,000 lightning strikes, anywhere from the British Columbia area, Yukon Territory, up through the southeast interior, Alaska Range, and through the eastern interior, central interior, and up through the Brooks Range and along the North Slope. So good lightning activity, but down quite a bit from the previous day. And then for the Wawa map, like I said, there's no watch warnings or advisories out for the state currently. We did have 38 new fire starts yesterday, analyzed by the Fire Center. Again, these are old photographs from the current fires going on, but still 38 new fires yesterday. For the fire danger, there's some dry fuels out there in the grass level, from high to very high readings there in the Fort Yukon area, in the Yukon Basin, and it looks like over in the Koyukuk Basin as well. So we're watching that. And then for the satellite information, you can see there's a main low out there in the northern Gulf, another couple lows driving towards the eastern Aleutians, scattered activity through the interior around a thermal low out that region, and then basically raging through much of the Gulf of Alaska, and also some fog noted along the Arctic coast. For today's weather, there's that low, 1,001 millibars there, with a occluder front driving some rain showers and various rain activity down through much of the west coast into the Bristol Bay region, and even over into the eastern Aleutians and southern end of the Alaska Peninsula. But otherwise, there's that thermal low driving some cells. You can see some cells developing across the interior and portions of the Alaska Range and the Brooks Range as well. Some lingering clouds over there in the Panhandle with the ridge of high pressure in the Gulf of Alaska, 1,027 millibars there. For tonight's weather, that low in the northern Bering, 1,006 millibars now, and a weak trough down through the Bristol Bay region, driving some continued shower activity out there. And then with that low in the Bering, some lingering rain, light rain across the west coast. Otherwise, thermal low drives some afternoon and evening thunder shower activity, 1,014 millibar low associated with that system. Otherwise, a couple of ridges of high pressure in the Gulf of Alaska and out there in the western and central Aleutians. And lastly, another low approaching the eastern Aleutians with a warm front. For Thursday's weather, that low continues in the northern Bering, weakening to 1,010 millibars there, driving some continued lingering light rain across the west coast. Trough now moving through the Bristol Bay region, and that low just south of the Aleutians moves further north with that warm front. Otherwise, the ridge out there in the Gulf of Alaska and out there in the Aleutians, bring some marine stratus, otherwise some decent weather across the Panhandle. For Friday's weather, that ridge now poking into much of the Bering Sea with marine stratus. Another ridge out there continues to linger in the Gulf of Alaska, driving some pretty good weather across the Panhandle. Otherwise, that low moves further towards Kodiak Island, driving some rain and rain shower activity through much of the Bristol Bay region into south central, and that low lingering that thermal low lingering in the eastern interior along the border there, driving some lingering thunder shower activity. And then for low temperatures, looking at 50s for the most part for most of the Panhandle, 51 there in Juneau, 50 out at Yakutat, Valdez 51. As we move into south central Alaska, 55 in Anchorage, 53 in Kodiak, 59 in McGrath. And then high temperatures Thursday afternoon, 67 in Ketchikan, 62 in Sitka, 70 there in Juneau, moving over into south central, 66 in Anchorage, 71 in Talkeetna, 61 in Kodiak, 60s for much of that region, including 73 in McGrath. Then for low temperatures Friday morning for the Panhandle, again 50s for most of that area, 51 in Yakutat, 51 in Juneau. And then as we move into south central, looking at 55 there in Anchorage, 53 in Kodiak, 57 in McGrath. Then for high temperatures Friday afternoon, 60s, mid 60s to upper 60s, even 70s across the Ketchikan, even in Haines. 61 there in Yakutat. As we move into south central, 71 in Talkeetna, 66 expected in Anchorage, and then 63 in Kenai, 59 in Kodiak, 69 there in McGrath, and 63 in King Salmon. Moving into the interior, North Slope, looks like 65 there in Fairbanks, 60s through much of the region for overnight low temperatures, 55 in Eagle, 63 in Fort Yukon, 39 in Ukqiavik. As we move into the North Slope, 40s in upper 30s there, 54 in Nome, 60 in Galena, 59 in Tanana. High temperatures Thursday afternoon across the interior North Slope, looking at 83 in Fairbanks, 88 in Fort Yukon, 86 in Eagle. As we move into the North Slope, looks like 60s, maybe even a 76 there in Anaktuvik Pass, 48 in Ukqiavik, 56 down in Nome, 75 in Galena, and 79 in Tanana. Low temperatures Friday morning for the region, 61 in McGrath, 55 in Eagle, 62 in Fort Yukon, 56 in Anaktuvik Pass, 41 in Ukqiavik, 52 in Nome, 58 in Galena. High temperatures Friday afternoon, 85 there in Fort Yukon, 82 there in Fairbanks, 72 in Anaktuvik Pass, 47 Ukqiavik, 58 in Nome, 73 in Galena, and 77 in Tanana. For the southwest Aleutians, Alaska Peninsula, looking at 54 in Aniak, 50s through much of the region, 51 in Cold Bay, 48 at Shemya, St. Paul, 47. High temperatures for Thursday afternoon, 60 there in Aniak, 60 in Cold Bay, 50s through much of the Aleutians, with 52 in Shemya and 56 in St. Paul. Low temperatures Friday morning for the region, 52 in Aniak, Cold Bay 49, 40s through much of the Aleutians. And then for high temperatures Friday afternoon, 61 in Aniak, 62 in Dillingham, 57 in Cold Bay, 50s through, and even a 60 there along some of the Aleutians, 52 in Shemya, 56 in St. Paul. CPC 6 to 10 day, looking at above normal tilts across much of the region, Panhandle, even into the mainland, but especially much of the southern mainland from August 1st to August 5th, again with above normal tilts through much of the state of Alaska. For precipitation, 6 to 10 day CPC Outlook Climate Prediction Center, looking at below normal tilts for precipitation across southern mainland into the Panhandle, with above normal tilts across much of the Brooks Range and North Slope.